Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that is kind of excited that we have a date. We have a date for when cinemas in the United Kingdom shall reopen. 17th of May is the new Christmas day, people. 17th of May, the new Christmas day. My name is Tosin. I am the host, and I am based up in Worcestershire. And joining me on the Isle of Wight, as always, are Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
And Shaun Harris.
Hiya.
Yes, how are you guys doing? How do you guys feel about a new Christmas day?
Oh yeah, I know. Well,
I'm looking forward to that.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Is it actually?
It's actually my birthday.
17th of May is actually your
17th
birthday.
of May is actually my birthday. So I was going to say to Sharon now, and perhaps I was thinking of seeing. Are we allowed to eat indoors on the 17th? Are we allowed indoors?
Or you mean like what? You mean for like going
restaurants.
for restaurants and
Yeah,
stuff?
eating
That I
in,
don't
yeah.
know.
Because I was thinking maybe it might go to Hong Kong Express before.
Yeah.
If
it's legal, we'll do it.
Yeah. So I'm going to sort of just put a general invite and say
If it isn't legal to go inside, order takeout and eat it on the street. Eat it on
true,
Newport
yeah.
High Street on your way to the cinema.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, so I'm thinking of that. So it's my birthday, so it's a super bonus.
Yeah, because we missed out on your birthday celebrations last year. Which was
my biggie.
A more special birthday celebration, wasn't it?
It was.
Because you were well into lockdown by then. Whereas Toes and I, we both had birthdays ending with a 0, but we got in before the lockdown, so we were able to celebrate ours. Yeah, mine was, yours is January, Toes, and mine is February, so we just got in there. Party
just
time
squeaked
before.
in.
Last year I had a mega. I think because I said about coming down, I had like a mega thing planned, with like karaoke and everything. And
Karaoke, backyard cinema, quizzes up the wazoo. I could just imagine what Shaun birthday celebration would be like. Oh, by the way, Shaun, I was speaking to somebody earlier today, and I was saying to him, I was like, Shaun would love you, because what he has a business, and what he does is that he does reproductions of like World War II era uniforms, but makes them like really, really authentic.
Oh, what, really?
Yeah. And when I was talking to him, and he was just kind of like, the way he was talking, I was like, oh my god, you sound like Shaun. He's like Shaun's the kind of person who watches a film and goes, oh, it ruined it for me because that guy was wearing the wrong belt buckle, and that belt buckle was only used by the 2nd Battalion in the blah blah blah. And he was like, I do exactly the same thing. That's exactly the same thing. And I was like, oh yeah, Shaun, you would get on with this guy. He makes I could give you his website, but he makes reproductions of these outfits. So that his whole thing is that it has to be authentic. It has to be doing like the medals and everything like that. But I just thought it was funny that it was like, oh yeah, Shaun, you would love to chat with this guy. This guy's like you. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about cinemas. Yes. So, and also, not only are we having cinemas back, but Shaun, you have been saying over the last couple of weeks how you have refused to watch Godzilla vs. Kong on any other option that was given to you, even though I refused to watch it because they were asking me to pay more money for it on a streaming platform I'm already paying money for. But you refused to watch it because you are saving this for the big screen.
For the big screen,
Yes, and as we were saying just before we started recording, Cineworld Cinemas seem to have been the ones who have said, you know what, we're going to have a deal. They've struck a deal with Warner Brothers to mark their reopening with a new deal to show films in theaters before they're streamed. And Godzilla vs. Kong will be the first film to make its UK debut on Cineworld screens as part of the deal. So, Shaun, it looks like you're getting your thing. You're getting your wish.
On my birthday, on my birthday.
On your birthday on the Isle of Wight, which has a Cineworld as the main thing. And as long as nothing stupid happens where the Isle of Wight cinema goes, well, we're different from the rest of the mainland, you will get to watch Godzilla vs. Kong on your birthday on the Isle of Wight.
Perfect.
Happy birthday, Shaun. Now, I think we're having a little bit of a fallow week because we also sat down there. I think we had a bank holiday for those of you who are not in the UK. A bank holiday is a public holiday, and so Monday of this week was a bank holiday, which means that the week is shorter, which would seem to mean you would think that would mean that we'd watched more stuff, but. But I don't think we did. I mean, Sharon, you've definitely said you haven't watched anything.
I haven't watched anything new.
Yeah. I'm having a bit of a blank, and the only thing I have is Collateral. So the Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx movie,
yeah,
which we've never spoken about on the podcast because we started the podcast long after the film had opened, and we usually had the rule that says you can't bring something you've already watched before. But watching this, I realized I haven't actually watched the whole of this film. I've seen maybe 20 minutes of it. So I think I could just about get away with coming in and talking about Collateral. And I have a Tom Cruise question for you guys to ponder when I talk about Collateral. So, Sharon, you can get a thinking cap on for that. Shaun, you have seen stuff, but you've forgotten it, so you think that means that they were not that memorable.
No, that wasn't that memorable. There were some things from last week, I think, which I didn't, because we didn't. So,
yeah.
Like, let me just think. I don't know.
You spoke about something called the Golden Arm.
Golden Arm, that's right. Yeah. So, Dead Water. Did I talk about?
You mentioned that you'd watched Dead Water, but you didn't say anything about Dead Water.
Okay.
Because we limited you, seeing as you've gone beast mode again, we limited you to talking about one thing.
That's right. The Glorias. Did we talk about the Glorias?
No, we didn't.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. No, we didn't. All right. So.
Right. Anyway. Okay.
Okay. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right. Okay. So I will kick off. And talk about Collateral. I'll talk about Collateral. I think we might all have seen that
Yep. I've seen Collateral.
That. And then, Shaun, we will give you 2-minute blasts to go through a whole bunch of the stuff that you've seen. See what you can do in 2 minutes. Unless there's one of them you want to talk about for longer than the others.
Yeah, I probably the one that I was going to do if I could choose one would be that Michael Clayton. So,
Michael Clayton. Oh, yeah. You'd never seen that before?
I hadn't seen that before. No, that was...
okay.
So I had not seen that one. So that was like a real bonus. No, I'd not seen Michael Clayton. I've seen The Ides of March and all those, but I've not seen this one. So.
All right, cool. Okay, good stuff. So let's kick off with Collateral. Now, Collateral is... Oh, wait a second. Put my 7 minutes on. Let's not waste everybody's time. Clock. There. 7 minutes. So Collateral is a movie with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, and it starts off with Jamie Foxx, and he's a cab driver in LA. And he's a cab driver in LA who has this dreams of getting himself into a limo company and all that. And Tom Cruise shows up at LAX, the airport, lands, gets into Jamie Foxx's cab. And the long and short of it is that it turns out that Tom Cruise is he's an assassin who has essentially hired this cab to drive around LA to kill some people, and then he was going to get him to go back to the airport and fly off. The original plan is that he was going to do this without the cabbie knowing anything else and being none the wiser. However, it doesn't quite go that way. Now, the film has been out a while. It's probably been about 10 years or something like that. So I think most people actually already know this film, and it was one of those films that when you're watching a film and you think, oh, I've seen this film before, I know exactly what happens, and then you start watching it and you're like, hang on a second, I don't remember this scene. I think maybe I've only just seen clips of this film, or I've heard people talk about this film, but I haven't actually watched the film. So I got to watch the film. It's directed by Michael Mann, and I think it's a really, really great film. And the conundrum I had for you guys to ask is, has Tom Cruise ever been better than he was in Collateral?
That's a good one.
Yes.
I mean, I think with Cruise, and I think we've had this conversation before when The Mummy came out, Tosin. I think we were saying that in the hands of a good director, he can be really, really good. But if it's not a strong director, he pretty much,
if you feel like Tom Cruise is in charge, because obviously nowadays he produces a lot of his films, which means that he is essentially his director's boss.
Yes.
So, so if he has, I think it can go wrong, a bit like The Mummy went wrong.
Yes, The Mummy went wrong.
A bit like The Mummy went wrong, and I think a bit like the Mission Impossible movies, they've just essentially become an excuse for Tom Cruise to do a whole bunch of stunts. And everybody raves about them, and I'm not so sure that they're as good as that. But because in Collateral, he plays Vincent, and he plays this character that only has one name. You don't really know any much about his backstory, but there's all these things in the story and in his performance that you just kind of like you start getting hints of where this guy came from and who this guy is and why he is doing that, why isn't he doing that. And there's funny bits where he kind of becomes part assassin, part life coach to the Jamie Foxx character who's driving him around and is freaking out about the fact that he's killing all these people. And and it's actually quite funny because I know that the Saw movies, I haven't watched the Saw movies. I haven't really gotten behind or gotten into the Saw movies. But I think that there's something in them where the Jigsaw killer, he essentially uses these contraptions to teach people to have a better life or something like that. From what I've read about that he's kind of like saying, oh, you're wasting your life, but now that you're close to death, you will know to appreciate life. And there's this weird thing where Tom Cruise does where he's almost kind of like a life coach for Jamie Foxx, going, oh, look, that lady, she gave you her number. You're not going to call her, are you? You need to call her. You're being too chicken in your life. You need to grab life by the ball. And you're going, what the heck is going on here? But I think it's a really, really taut thriller. It's really, really well done. I think the performances are great. And I honestly don't think that Tom Cruise has ever been better. And weirdly enough, this is one of the few times you find Tom Cruise playing a bad guy. And I think he is so good in this. I mean, he doesn't really look like himself because he has like sort of bleached. Well, no, he has sort of white hair,
hairish.
Yeah, he has white hair, and I think he is. I know people. Tom Cruise bashing is almost like a part-time, especially on the internet. Tom Cruise bashing is a part-time, to say that he's rubbish and to say all the things that are wrong with him, about his beliefs and all that. But I think sometimes you forget how good he is, and he does dead-eyed menace really, really, really well. So
was this Jamie Foxx's first film?
No. Jamie Foxx had been in loads of stuff beforehand.
Has he beforehand? Right.
Yeah. I think he was actually in this after he won the Oscar for Ray.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in this after he won but so Jamie Foxx was known as a comedic actor, as a singer and everything, and then he came out with Ray, and everybody was like, where the heck did that come from? Yeah. And it did catapult him to a new level of sort of like film stardom. But I think in Collateral, it's almost kind of like a play. It's almost kind of like a play, but I just think the film was really, really well done.
I think, because I all it was, the reason I was saying that, because I didn't think, I mean, he's good. I really like Jamie Foxx, but I didn't think he was amazingly good in this. He was okay, but I didn't think he was amazingly good on Jamie Foxx.
I think it's because the character is supposed to be is quite passive. The character is quite. Yeah.
I mean, his other roles, Jamie Foxx, Any Given Sunday, Baby Driver.
Oh yeah.
They're just he's just great. But this, he just didn't seem. I don't know. But I think you're exactly right. It's probably the character he was playing that.
It's a lot
his
more.
Character
subdued.
was out. Yeah, his character was out of character for him.
Yeah, it was. The character was a bit of a sad sack. It was a bit of a sad sack. Although the film actually ends up being one of these sort of time capsule things where you go back and you see all these people who are in the film who were not as well known as they are now. Because I was watching, there's a scene where Javier Bardem, he shows up and you're like, what are you doing here? And he has a tiny role where he plays like, he's in a club, he sits down there, he's menacing, he's on screen for all of 5 minutes. And you're like, oh my God, that's Javier Bardem. But they just treat him like it's just some random, good. Mark Ruffalo shows up. And you're like, oh my God. Because my wife, the reason we were watching this is because my wife, when we started going out, we ended up with a list, because my wife is not really into pop culture, of things that everybody talks about that she should watch. Like, she hadn't seen any of the Die Hards before going out with me, hadn't seen any of the Lethal Weapons, hadn't seen any of the Star Wars. So this was something that she was like, okay, yeah, let's watch Collateral. And she was watching it, she was like, oh my God, is that the Hulk? I was like, oh, he looks different because he has his hair slicked back and he looks he looks almost a bit more like Michael Pena in this film than he looks like Mark Ruffalo. But there's all these people that just keep popping up in the film that you just make that it becomes fun just to watch. But I think Collateral, now that I've actually finally properly watched the film, I would give it 4 out of 5, especially, and it's a high 4. It's a high 4 out of 5, especially because even though it has Tom Cruise in it, it doesn't have the problem my brother is always complaining about with Tom Cruise, which is he wins. Tom Cruise wins the day. Tom Cruise saves the day. Whatever happens, Tom Cruise is always this person. And the fact that he was a bad guy in this is quite a good one. All right, cool, good. So, shall we go with? So, Sharon, have you seen Michael Clayton?
No.
Have you seen Collateral?
Haven't. Yes.
Okay, cool. What did you think of Collateral? I'll ask you that then.
No, I liked it. I thought it was good to see Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx playing against type, because I think you get into that mode where you know what you're going to expect from both of them. Like before this film, Jamie Foxx was, as you say, comedic actor,
and cool.
And cool, yeah. And then you expect him to suddenly turn into this, gun-toting, kicking and fighting and biting and you expect them to be transformed into what we're familiar with. And the same with Tom Cruise, you expect him to suddenly go, oh, actually, I'm not really the bad guy, I'm actually just Tom Cruise. Yeah. And so I think the fact that he stays in character for the whole film and that it doesn't play to your expectations, to me, made it a success. Yeah. And and it is, when you look at the catalogue or think about the catalogue of films that Tom Cruise has done, this is the one that is sort of slightly out there, isn't it? Because nearly everything else he's done is of a type. Well, and I think this is the one that does stand out.
The thing is, as well, you've got a good director, haven't you, really?
Yeah, Michael Mann. Michael Mann is a very good director, yeah.
And actually, one of the things I did watch or rewatched was Heat. So that was Heat, thinking about that Heat. That's on some of the films that are on. I have rewatched a lot of stuff because I don't know, because I've just started watching it and I thought, I'll watch Heat. I watched a bit of Fox, then Heat was on. So yeah, that's one of my that's up there. That's up there.
And Michael Mann, he has this love affair with LA. Yes. He just keeps setting films in LA, and the way he shoots LA, you're like, you can see all the way from To Live and Die in LA to Heat to Collateral. You're like, this guy, he has something for LA. And also the other time that I would look at Tom Cruise and say, because I asked the question, has he ever been better? Dramatically, I think it would be hard to say he's been better than he is in Collateral. But also, Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, in which he also plays a bad guy, but a totally different type of bad guy. That, I think, it's like, it gave me a new level of respect for the guy with his role as Len Grossman in Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Tropic Thunder.
That's right,
as a movie producer, I was like, you're watching it, you're going, that's Tom Cruise. That's Tom Cruise. I think it's cool. So Shaun, you said you wanted to talk Michael Clayton.
Yes, Michael Clayton. Yeah,
so,
I mean, yeah.
I was going to say we'll give you your full 7 minutes for Michael Clayton, and then we can zip through whatever else you want to zip through. All right, cool. So go, Michael Clayton.
Okay, Michael Clayton. Well, how this film slipped me by, I just don't know. I really don't know. I just happened. I thought Michael Clayton, George Clooney, and I was thinking of Michael. That it was there was a film about the IRA called Michael Collins.
Michael Collins, with Liam Neeson, yeah.
And I thought that's what it was, because I saw it on there as I was flicking through the sky, and I saw it and I said, I just sort of went, and then I thought, oh, George Clooney. So I watched this film. Basically, the storyline is, George Clooney, he works for this high-paced, lawyer company with a big lawyer company. And he's what's called a janitor, and he goes around and he has to fix sort of. He's the first one that turns up. He doesn't actually defend in court, but he goes there and he puts the right people in the right places for the people to, he says, I mean, that's like someone's been in a car accident and they say, oh, will you go and phone him at 2:00 in the morning, say, will you go and see this guy? And he goes there and explains to him that I can get someone to sort it all out. Yeah. And it's one of these political intrigue things where one of the partners of this company, he just goes mad, and he just goes mad and takes all his clothes off in this thing and starts. And he's so obviously the company's like, we've got to stop this, and he's been in contact with they're protecting their lawyers for this firm that have had something to do with weed killers, which have killed some. Yeah. And with one of the partners, he's got lots of stuff, so they obviously decide to
the partner, I think is a partner played by Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah, Tom Wilkinson.
He knows where a lot of the bodies are buried, and he seems like, as you say, he seems to have like a crisis of confidence or crisis of conscience, along with his breakdown, which means that he's about to go out there and start telling everybody all the bad things the company has been doing.
Yes. Yeah. And so, have you seen this, Entos? You've seen.
I have seen Michael Clayton.
Oh,
yes.
right, okay. Have we never talked about it before? Then?
We've never spoken about Michael Clayton. No,
okay.
And I have to admit, I would agree. I would follow with your sentiment. I do not know how this one has passed you by, because this film sounds like it's right up your alley.
Yes, really, really. I mean, I love George Clooney. I love George Clooney films. You know, Syriana and Ides of March. All those like movies that have got something to say.
Yeah.
So this story, like I say, he's like the janitor. He fixes things. And is it Tilda Swinton? Is she like?
Yes, Tilda Swinton's in it.
Yeah, she plays. That's the part that because normally with Tilda Swinton, she reminded me of Jodie Foster out of Silence of the Lambs. Why? I've no idea, but she looked like anyway. So I know that was one of my random things. But back to this anyway. Yeah. So the story is basically the intrigue of how like some people high up in the company do not want this to come out, and obviously with George Clooney knowing he was a friend, and he disappears, and he's like, well, what's happened? And he finds out some things, so he decides that he's going to actually investigate it. So obviously people in the company, they put a tail on him, and they've got these people, and I thought it was really, really well done actually with the car explosion and things. I thought that was like, because I could imagine early in the morning, I've done that myself sometimes, where if you've been driving and you might actually see something and actually just stop and get out and I've done a lot of driving in my time, and I could really relate to this stuff, and because some people might have thought, oh, that was lucky, but I thought, well, early in the morning, you see some things, and I've done it myself, so I couldn't.
Okay, so Shaun is simultaneously trying to describe a scene in the film without giving you any spoilers. As to what's happening. Yeah. So
but you know the scene I mean. Because I could have if it had been another universe, I might have said, "Oh, I might have done my little moan."
That's totally unrealistic.
Yeah, definitely unrealistic.
The thing is that, a couple of the reasons why I thought that you would like Michael Clayton is because it is at its heart a paranoid 70s thriller. So when you have all these paranoid 70s thriller, like All the President's Men or anything like that, the whole idea is that there's a higher power up there, or and there's stuff they don't want to tell you, and you've got to go and do all this investigation to try and figure out a way of uncovering the truth and find out what's happening. So the whole film is kind of like almost a crisis of confidence or conscience for Michael Clayton, asking himself whether what he's been doing and going around and being a janitor and cleaning up after all these messes for this law firm, for all these companies, whether it's actually worth it, because he's trying to get out. He's trying to get out. Then this whole thing happens with a partner who's a good friend of his, and the film seems to deliberately be low key and deliberately be realistic. So everything that happens, that I think what you're aiming at is things that get sensationalized in other films, like, oh, it's a thriller, we're gonna blow up a car, we're gonna kill this person. They actually happen in a very sort of low key, understated. Hang on, that's actually what it would look like way. Like there's assassination scenes in this film that are anything but sexy.
Yeah,
they are anything. They are just sort of matter of fact. It's like, what is the point here? The point here is not that we're trying to make this thing look cool. The point is we're trying to kill a guy.
And I mean, that's the first time I've seen how the way they do it, which I thought was like, if you don't want anything to be seen, I thought, well, I don't think that's ever been. I've ever seen that in a film.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, that makes so much sense. what? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, why did people never ever? That was like, yes, I can see why they did that. Well, I won't say what they did, because you have to watch that. So
Shaun going on with Shaun saying of, that makes sense. It gets a mark from me. It makes sense. Gets a mark from me.
Yeah.
So how many stars would you give Michael Clayton?
I'm going to give this one a 4, a nice high 4. I mean, I really liked it. It's right. You were right, Tosin, right up my street. It's the typical thing I like. I mean, I love those low key thrillers as well, because Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the remake.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, it's just do you know what I mean? They're not like
they're not overhyped.
Like you were saying. Yeah, some of the assassinations are like, oh, you know, that was real showmanship. Do you know what I mean? They were just it's just kept very low key, and to me that's how it goes. So so I've got to give it a 4-star.
Yep, I would agree with. I think it was a film. I remember I saw Michael Clayton on an all-nighter cinema in London at Imperial College London, where the cinema would do every term they would do an all-nighter. Michael Clayton was one of the films on, and it was one of those films that you finish watching, and on the one hand you think, well, not much happened. It was just people talking, but you go, hang on, but that was really good. That was really, really good. It was, and obviously George Clooney, he's quite political. He says a whole bunch of stuff, and you can see the sort of political motivations behind this, talking about big companies that keep doing cover-ups and putting profit before human lives. And it's, but yeah, I thought Michael Clayton's a very, very, very good film. So, Shaun, we have 4 minutes left on this Zoom thing. What films do you want to tackle in your quickfire round?
I got to see what I remembered. Actually, I'm going to start writing them down, and I did write some down. Did we do a film called Anna?
Yes, you did. Anna, we did Anna ages ago.
All right, okay. So let me just look at see what
there was
a film called The Glorias. A film called The Glorias that I watched, which was 2020, which is Gloria Steinman. She was like a woman's liver. She started off, but this is really, really good because it shows her in 4 sort of stages of life.
Oh, so yeah.
On a Greyhound bus, so you've got her, I guess, round about 4 or 5, then round about 11 or 12, and then sort of in the teens, 20s, and then up until the 50s. And I could probably, now I'm thinking about it, I could probably save a lot for this movie. But there are times when there's great shots in this when it all sort of goes through different times in her life, but they're all talking about it at the so you got all 4 characters at one time on this Greyhound bus, and they're all discussing. So yeah, it's great, and it's all about the feminist movement and how it starts off, and the journey through it, and what she witnesses. And I think it must be based on a true story. And it's, I mean, there's some Julianne Moore. That's it, Julianne Moore. She plays it. And also she goes to when she's obviously in her university days, and she has to go to India for a year, and she ends up with some of the lower caste. So there's a whole period where she's in India and she sees what goes on with the women and all that. And I think that's what sort of gives her. Yeah, no, this one, this was the one I saw the week before, which we didn't do. So I'm going to give this one a nice little 4 stars for this one as well. I think thinking about it now. So
it's essentially a bus ride with her having a conversation with herself at different ages. At different ages, and I like there's also bits. I think you'd like it, Toes. And there's also bits where they obviously go through the different parts in her life where she's growing up, and then, as I say, at moments they're all together talking on a obviously having their thoughts. Okay, it's really good. We might get kicked off Zoom. We'll just come back in a second. Okay. So I'm going to give that one a 4 stars. It's worth a watch. I think you might like it as well, Sharon. It's an interesting concept.
I think I've seen a trailer for it, or yes, I have seen a trailer for it. Because as soon as you said it, I thought, I think that's Julianne Moore. Yeah. Was that Sky Cinema or Sky Cinema? Yeah. Yeah. Because, that's why I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, that's where Shaun lives nowadays.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, what is quite good about it, I can sit in my room and I can put it on and just flick through, and then if something because I mean, like, some of the films I've seen are probably films I wouldn't have gone out of my way to see. Like quite a few actually, and that's how I got like Antebellum, that one that we did the review, and there's ones that I probably would not have watched if it hadn't been on. So it's quite good because I'm doing other stuff, and then I just scroll through and I think, oh, this looks good, and then I end up watching it. That is the problem with Netflix. I mean, it is hard to be caught by something you don't intend to watch. That's it. And you can be lost in a rabbit hole just looking for something to watch, and then you've spent an hour just watching nothing. That's it. There's also a series that I've started to watch, and it's called Exterminate the Brutes, and it's basically about all the different, colonial powers at different times and how things. Oh, good Lord. it's quite interesting because it's sort of all over the place. So I think there's four episodes in there. So hopefully that won't be in another couple of weeks. I'll be able to review that one.
So I think that we might be roundabout done.
Okay.
In the week in which we resolutely failed to watch anything new. I mean, I was planning to watch. The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh,
it's an animated film. So Sharon, you're out.
I'm out.
Animated film on Netflix from the people who made Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. And it's all about how there's this robot apocalypse. So there's a family where you have a dad and you have a daughter, and the dad's always complaining that his daughter's always on the phone, and like how these phones that we have are destroying this whatever family thing that we have. Shaun, this might all be sounding very, very familiar to you. He's saying like, oh, we families used to sit down, we used to talk to each other, we used to have eye contact, and that doesn't happen anymore because we're always looking at their phones. And the daughter's going away and going to a university, so the father decides that as a last ditch attempt for them to actually have some family time together, they're going to drive across America to take her to university. But while they're going there, they get stopped because his worst fears are realized, and the AI in the phone revolts and takes over the world, and then it descends to essentially it's a robot apocalypse. So it's the Mitchells versus the Machines. The Machines are robot apocalypse. So that's what it's all about. That I was planning to watch, but my wife didn't fancy that, and so she decided to go for something that was old, and we saw Collateral, which I'm not mad about at all. And also, I just wanted to say the final thing is a report back. I actually went and watched Love and Monsters. I got over my fear of giant insects.
Yeah.
And when I saw Love and Monsters, and Sharon, I agree with everything you said. I thought the film was great. I really, really enjoyed it. And it was actually one of those films where I was sad that the film did not get to be released in cinemas. I was sad that the film, because I think there were some things, because it's an adventure movie, sort of action adventure movie, but there's some moments of real heart in it where stuff happens. Like there's a bit with Sharon. I don't think we can hear you again.
Oh.
Okay. Cool.
It was my finger.
Yeah, no problem. There's some moments of real heart in it. There's a moment, and the funny thing is, I was reading an article about it, and someone was pointing out how one of the moments with the biggest heart involve a guy, a robot, and a dog, and yet you still get this. Yeah, the Mavis thing.
The Mavis coat.
That whole scene is so well done. It is so well done and in such a way that sometimes when people try and do something with heart, it feels like they might be duping you, or it feels like it's too contrived, or it's too manufactured to try and cry now, press this button, cry now. But I think that whole scene was just so you're like, oh, that feels real. That feels like they're actually connecting to something real here.
Didn't see that coming, and I think a lot of the good scenes in it where you think actually they haven't taken the shortcuts, because it would have been so easy. I won't talk about the ending because it's the spoilers, but there's a predictable ending, and then there's like almost the ending that we got. Yeah. Because he's set out on this journey, and then the expectation is it's certainly going to end a certain way.
Yes, yeah.
And the fact that they just sort of steered clear of that when it would have been so easy for.
Well, they ended up with something. Yeah, they ended up with something more complicated. Something more complicated and more kind of real than what you expect in a movie. They do kind of sort of go back to a point where the typical Hollywood ending might happen, but they're not going to pay attention to it.
They're not going to do it yet.
Yeah.
I did like Michael Rooker's character. I think Michael Rooker is almost one of the only actors who could do that now, I think.
Yeah.
That character that he plays.
Yeah, the sort of gruff but lovely kind of thing. It's. I think I quite like, and also I think I have to say props to Ariana Greenblatt, who plays Minnow, who is the 8-year-old girl who walks around with Michael Rooker's character. And I just think this was a gem of a film. I really, really enjoyed it, and even with the massive creepy crawlies, it was still good. And a great dog, one of the great dogs on film. if you ask me.
Yeah, they should be there. Doggy films. That'd be they're
another subgenre. Yeah, films
a
with dogs.
subgenre. The great film dogs, great, and annoying film dogs like the ones in both Independence Days and the one in Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
Stupid dogs. It's just it's a stupid dog.
Stupid dog. Trying to make me care for a dog. I don't care. Duh. Yeah. Anyway, until next week when we will be
get the light back.
But okay, by the time we record next week, Shaun, we will be
so close.
4 days.
4 days.
4 days from cinemas coming back. So we are 11 days out. 11 days out from Shaun being able to watch. You know, I actually think you're just going to spend the whole of your birthday in the cinema, Shaun. If you're allowed. I think
it's Chinese food. Yeah. Smuggle it in under your jumper.
If you're allowed to do that. But they haven't said anything about your Cineworld cards, your unlimited cards.
No, not a thing. Not a thing yet. No.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well, I will see, and I will try and see what I can. Ooh, I might actually have to figure out what I'm going to watch first. I have to figure out what I'm going to go to the cinema to see. Ooh. Well, I'm going to have to see what's showing in my local one. Anyway, until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye for me, and I apologise if you feel seasick if you see any of this footage, because I have been jiggling around a lot. So it's a goodbye for me.
Yeah, apologies to you, Anna, on YouTube.
And bye-bye from me.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.